Perfect. Cool. Now let's type ls to see if there's anything inside of this one. Okay, you've been saving your initial labs in that. So going forward, we can talk about this at the end of the call.
Okay.
We'll come back and maybe do a little cleanup to help you out. But it looks like you're going to save your labs into the Flatiron directory and then into the subdirectory called code. Okay.
Okay.
So type cd and hit enter. And we're going to rewind now to the beginning of the call. So there's two things you want to do at the very beginning of your lab. Okay. First, you're going to start off in this root directory, which is not where you keep your. That's not where you keep your labs. So the first thing you want to do is you want to hit cd space Flatiron to get into your Flatiron directory.
CD.
Yep, perfect. And hit enter.
Okay.
And you can see we were in your root directory, and now we're in the Flatiron directory. Okay.
Okay.
Now go ahead.
Oh no, I was going to write it down so that way I have it going forward.
Yeah, that's fine. And then I can share this video with you too.
Oh, okay, perfect. Yeah, let's just do that.
Okay. Now, one last thing. I know you were going to write stuff down, and the repetition will sink in here. But where are we keeping your labs?
I believe Flatiron.
And inside Flatiron is that other code folder, right?
Yeah.
So now we're in the Flatiron folder. We need to go one more deeper. What are we going to do?
Code.
Yes, and how do we get into that code directory?
CD space code.
Yes, perfect. Cool. Okay, so when you start up, the first two things you're going to do in the terminal every time, at least right now going forward, is you're going to cd into Flatiron, and then you're going to cd into your code directory. And you'll know that you're there when you see the code directory preceding the percentage sign. Okay.
Cool.
You need to do this first before anything else because you don't want to be saving those labs in a different folder. You'll get it'll make a mess.
Okay.
It might not break anything. It's just gonna make a mess. So we'll keep things tidy going forward. Okay. So you'll have to make sure you're paying attention that you're always in the correct folder. Okay. And we're gonna talk about this in a little bit also. Okay. So we're there. Now let's go back to Canvas. Now that we got the terminal all ready to go, you would normally start by forking the lesson, which it sounds like you already did.
Yes.
Okay, so we pretend that we actually hit the fork button, and let's go to your GitHub now that has this. Okay, so normally at this point you'd see the forking image; it'd be forking over, and then after it's done, it would take you directly here. If you so from here, we're going to go to the code. And we want the SSH address, and we're going to copy it using the clipboard. Perfect. Okay. Now we're going to go back to the terminal. And now that we're in the right directory, we're going to git space clone space paste in your
code or the
SSH address, and that will clone your repo for the lab. Oh, but before all that, we need to type in git space clone.
Gotcha. Okay. Git space paste.
So it should look like that. You need to get clone in there too. And I don't know if the mouse is going to let you do that now. Yeah, it puts it at the end. You have to go all the way back. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Perfect. Good. Nice. And we hit enter. It should start cloning it. Perfect. And you got it good to go. Now we are inside your clone directory or your code directory. We just cloned that lab. So let's take a look inside the code directory. You can type ls again to list out all the files and directories in that code directory. And what do you know? A few minutes ago, we only had this one, and you just cloned in that successfully. Okay.
Cool.
Now, all of your lab material is in this folder, so we need to cd into that one now. Okay.
Okay, so what I do, CD space and then Ruby variable assignment?
Yeah, and you can, that one you can CD space and then take your mouse and drag and copy it. Just save yourself some typing time.
Got it. So now I'm in that area.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Perfect. If you, yeah, perfect. So now you can open the lab in VS Code using the code space period command like you did earlier. You can just type, yeah, code space period. And you might not even need the period anymore. I think that was updated. So you can just type code.
Just code?
Yes.
And then from here, just go to new folder?
Oh, you know what? No, I'm sorry. Nope, we do need that dot. Yeah, though it just opened up empty VS Code. Let's go back to the terminal. Sorry, it wasn't that magical. A code space period. It's gonna open up everything in this directory now. I thought yeah, I'm sorry. I thought we needed it. You opened code earlier with just code, and I didn't realize it was just empty shell. So we will take code space period. That's what you want to do to open all of the lab files with VS Code. So go ahead and enter or return. All right, and you'll notice we have your lab folder open with all of the files. There's your test folder. There's your actual lab assignment file. You can go ahead and click on that. Now, you're in. Did you, we can take a second. This lab is actually very, very short, which is good because it helps us just get booted up with getting used to pushing and cloning all your repos here. Do you want to do this real quickly?
Yeah, I'd love to. Thank you.
Okay. So this lab is just asking for a string called hello world.
Okay.
And it wants you to assign that value to a variable called greeting. And you can do it right here on line 3.
So is it just greeting equals hello world?
Yes. And I think that punctuation is important, so just keep everything capitalized the way they have it. Yeah, perfect. Okay, now we can save that. Which you, from a Mac, you can use Command C to save. If you were in Windows, you can do Control. I'm sorry, not C. Command S to save. It could be Control S if you were in a Windows environment. And let's go back to the terminal now. We again are still inside this labs directory. So if we type learn space test, you should be able to run all your tests because you're inside that specific lab. And you passed them all, in this case, one. So nice work. Okay, cool. So that should be the process they want going forward for each lab, okay? This walkthrough, can you go back to your terminal one more time?
Yeah, definitely.
This last step is really important because this is kind of what throws everyone off. We are still in this lab, right?
Right.
And when we go to another lab, what's the first thing you're going to want to do?
Go back to CD Flatiron?
And in your case, it will not just be Flatiron. It's going to be Flatiron like / code, right? Because you're saving everything in that subdirectory called code.
Right.
So you can get back up into that directory by just hitting CD space ..
And that'll take me to the very beginning. Or you can...
No, CD with no dots will take you to the beginning. CD space .. will just take you one up, which is what we want to do. And I guess I want to like hit on this right now while it's fresh. Like as soon as you finish the lab, go back in the terminal and go CD space up, so you don't forget that don't leave yourself in that old lab and forget about it. So you'll do space .. or .. period. Perfect. And hit enter. And that takes you back to your code. Now, if you type ls, those are where all your labs are. But you're back up at the high level of code, which is where we want to be. So when you go back to fork your next lesson, you're going to clone, you clone it, you get cloned from the code directory, and then you get into the labs directory to actually open up the code and run the lab. Make sense?
Can you say that one more time?
Yeah. So we're going to always bounce back and forth between the parent code folder and all of the children lab folders.
Okay.
When we fork and then we use the git space clone command to actually clone the repo,
Yeah.
we need to do that from the parent directory, which in your case is the code folder.
Okay.
Once you've cloned it, if you type ls, it'll show up with all these other ones, right?
It'll show all the assignments that I'm going to be working on.
Yeah, and then you
that
cd
I have worked on.
Yeah, and then if, like, let's say we do another one, you clone it from the code directory. If you type ls, it'll show up in that list now, and then you would cd into that labs folder to actually get going, right? Make sense?
Yes.